Hey everybody, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here, and I thought that I would try out a new format. Typically, every week I do these wonderful weekly energy updates on Facebook, and I thought today let me go live in YouTube instead and explore a new dimension in a new dimension. So every week I bring to you what is happening behind the scenes, the energy behind this life that we experience day in and day out. And I help to bring in more information to give you a different perspective, to help you to settle, expand, relax into, and just make sense of what is happening in the world around you and within you. So we are kicking off a new season here. We are post fall equinox, which means we have moved past that tipping point, and now we're starting to shift into a new direction. And with that, we've also entered Libra season. I talked about Virgo season pretty extensively over the last few weeks. If you're interested in finding out more about Virgo season and how that Virgo energy affects you, definitely go check out the past weekly energy updates that I have been putting out recently. And if you want to know more about Libra season and how it affects you, definitely tune in next week because I'm going to talk about this next week. Today, what I felt on my heart calling to start a conversation around is starting to explore life beyond 3D living. Now, some of you may be like, Chrissy, what the heck are you talking about? And some of you might be like, yeah, Chrissy, I've been kind of wondering about that. I've heard people talk about 3D, 4D, 5D living, and I want to understand what that is. So I thought I would put it into a nice little nutshell in this weekly energy update. If this is a new conversation for you, I invite you to stay engaged and open your mind to the possibility that this is something that's going on. And as you start to listen and understand the difference between these different dimensions, reflect back into your own life to see where it is that you are falling and how your life experience is. Right now, energetically speaking, and collectively as a human consciousness, we are evolving. This evolution is causing a lot of shifts, a lot of turmoil, a lot of people checking out and leaving this planet. It's causing a lot of unexplained, volatile episodes. It is bringing about a lot of craziness, and there's a reason behind all of it. The symptoms of healing and the symptoms of disease typically look the same and can often look the same. So, as we edge towards healing our society, as we embark on a new way of being, it's going to look like things are getting worse. Things are going to get ramped up. Energies are going to get super intense. Conflicts are going to be at an all time high. Contrast is going to be making itself way more predominant in your life as we are shifting and changing. Many of us have heard and have found ourselves in conversations around how the veil is being lifted and how we're going through a massive ascension right now and how there is a rising of divine feminine energy. If you've heard these things thrown out there, you've probably been engaged in some of the same conversations that I have. But if you've heard this and you don't quite fully understand it today, hey Erica, so glad you could be here live. I didn't know who would tune in live on Facebook, so pretty fun to explore. And actually, Erica, I think it was the conversation that you and I were having that where I was breaking down the different dimensions for you that really spoke to or sparked today's conversation. So if you've heard these things, that we're going through this mass ascension, that there's a lifting of the veil, that all these false paradigms are starting to come crumbling down. This is indeed what is happening. Now, that looks like chaos and disorder, but as I have learned, chaos and disorder, to my mind, what looks like chaos and disorder is typically a sign that all is in divine order and that all is indeed well and going according to plan. So as we shift into a truer, more authentic expression in our human ways and in our human society, we are going to shift from what we know as 3D living over into 5D living. Third dimension, fifth dimension. We're making a transition. So what is 3D? 3D is what you have known your whole life. The story that you wake up to, the rules that you follow in society, what you have to do, what you got to do, how you observe things from the human perspective. In the 3D world, everything happens in a linear equation or a linear sense, a linear expression. It feels as if you're waking up in the morning and then you're going through a series of events that are leading you to a certain outcome in the end. And everything has this cause and effect. Everything has its place and its non-place. Everything has rules, dimensions, 3D world. It's the here, now, touch, see, limitations that whenever I knock this, it's wood, it's a desk, and it's going to make that sound. That's 3D world. This is what you get. What you see is what you get in the 3D world. Now, the problem with the 3D world is that there's more happening than what we see. So if we're only looking within our parameters, we're only going to see whatever we can see, and we can't see what's behind that. We can't see what goes through somebody's head that causes them to pull in front of you in traffic. We can't see what goes through someone's mind or what happened earlier in their day to have them show up with the attitude that they have. So when we move from 3D into 5D, we're bringing in a fuller story. We're having a multi-dimensional experience where simultaneously many things are happening all at the same time. We do not play by the same rules that we do in the 3D world. And this 5D world is that world that a lot of us have been kind of exposed to. This world of conscious expansion, of abundance, of manifesting, of magic, of miracles, of doing what Jesus did and what Jesus said that we can do. All that I can do, you can do, and more. Yes? Jesus lived within the fifth dimensional realm of being. And when you're a fifth dimensional being, you can interact in the third dimension. You just know that there's more to the story. So when someone is rude, unkind, short-tempered with you, it's pretty easy for you to see that it has nothing to do with you. It is nothing to take personal. There's a fuller story of what's happening. And in fact, you can deal with that person or interact with that person who's having a crisis and not have a crisis yourself. It's a pretty powerful place to be. It is a place of conscious expansion. It is the place that we go to in our most fullest, truest expression of self. And it's a place in which anything is possible. When we move out of the 3D world and into the 5D world, that's where we can start to change our circumstances, engage in spiritual alchemy to be able to transmute the energy of the here and now into something that is pure, divine, holy, love, God expressed. So what is between these two worlds? This world, 5D, this is where you go whenever you meditate, whenever you're in mindfulness, when you're here, now, in the present moment. That's where all this takes place. 3D, past, present, what you think about your current situation based on what your past experiences is and what you believe to be true about the future, right? So most of us are in transition from 3D living to 5D. And when I say most of us, I mean most of us that are watching me talk about this. Most of us. There's a lot of people out there that are firmly planted in the 3D world. They are fine with the 3D world. They're going to deal with the angst of the 3D world, but they're going to be right within the 3D world. Everything's going to happen in cause and effect. And they're going to be challenging as you're trying to transcend and shift over into this different, more fuller experience of yourself. So as you start to be exposed to concepts, when you are exposed with different teachings, like what I bring to the table, when I invite you to say, go into your life and experiment and live your life as if life has your back at every moment, as if everything is propelling you towards your desires. As soon as that thought comes in, your mind expands from 3D, this is all we get, thinking, over into 5D, this is what's possible. But you have the concept, you haven't had the physical reality within yourself. So you have to bridge the gap between the 3D and the 5D, and you find yourself in what we call the fourth dimensional corridor. The fourth dimensional corridor is this hallway that you transcend. It's like that underground tunnel connecting two different entities, right? You're moving from one location over to a different location, but you're kind of stuck between both worlds. So what happens is that you bring over the concepts of what's possible in the 5D world, but because you haven't played in this playground long enough to develop your own truths, to get a direct experience of what's happening over here, you are going to find yourself either justifying old survival 3D needed habits that don't align with everything that you believe to be true about 5D possibilities. You will find yourself using what's called your spiritual ego, the self that you started to develop as you and identify with as you began to expand your consciousness and start to grow more personally in your life. That spiritual ego, the one that says, hey, it is more enlightened to be kind to someone and compassionate to someone than short, patient, and verbally aggressive. We believe that. We know that that's fifth dimensional way of being. We're striving to be fifth dimensional beings. We're looking to expand our world. And then somebody comes in and they do something horribly rude to you. And although you know it is the more enlightened choice to be kind to them, because their choice was so wrong and out of alignment with your higher beliefs, you will actually revert back to 3D way of being and justify it with your 5D beliefs. So you will use old tactics of aggression, of forcefulness, of manipulation, of control, of unkindness. You will use those unkind tactics and justify them for the highest good of all. And this can get you really, really stuck. And a lot of us have been kind of in this limbo state in the fourth dimensional corridor, kind of feeling us pull back and forth. We know what's possible at the end of the hallway, but we keep getting slingshot back to the 3D because these rascals keep bringing up all of our stuff. And if they could just get on board and learn what we learn, if they could just evolve themselves spiritually, if they could just practice what we know makes us better people, then all of us can transcend together and we won't have to be so rude to them. Do you see where this gets a little bit messy? Erica says, fifth dimension, what you see as you stand on the beach and let water wash across your feet. Yes, that feeling that gets evoked from within you that there is something bigger happening, something more going on than what meets the eye. I think we all have a sense of that. I've been given the gift to be able to put words to it, and hopefully in a way that makes it really practical and tangible, and you can just step right into this. If you're confused AF, that's okay. That's what the comments are for. We can keep this conversation going. But a lot of us are wrestling people in this fourth dimensional corridor, and our rightness is their rightness is going to tackle them to the ground and cause us to continue to go blow for blow, round for round, and stop you from getting into that 5D experience. If you are getting tripped up and tangled up, especially by somebody who doesn't know as much as you, isn't as enlightened as you, hasn't been as committed to their spiritual path as you, if this is what you've been dealing with, just know that you're not alone. This is extremely common. There's very few of us that get started on a personal growth path and get partnered with soulmates that are just there to guide and help to unfold and make it super easy. A lot of us are here to clear, to cleanse, to heal, to reconcile, to bring justice to decades and centuries of injustice that wasn't just done to us, but our previous generations and our previous ancestry. So these are deep rooted. They're going to come from inside of you. And if you're still tripping up and not having that 5D, all expansive, all inclusive, anything possible experience, I'm going to invite you from this moment forward to notice who you're blaming in that situation. Notice what you think needs to change about the other person in that situation. And then notice how that desire, that identity of what is wrong and what needs to change is your rightness holding you back. You are so busy, or you may be so busy being right, rooted in your spiritual beliefs, your expanded perspective, that you don't even realize that you are still stopping yourself from being part of all that is because you're still saying that you're right and they're wrong. In this corridor, and definitely over in the 5D world, there's enough room for you both to be right at the same time. But being right isn't necessarily going to be what transcends you. Letting go of your need to be right and to realize somebody else's rightness, their truth does not negate your truth. Your truth can stand simultaneously at the same time. Stop denying their truth, start embracing it, and watch it transmute in front of your eyes and usher your own way, be your own doula into the fifth dimensional living that you're craving so much. I pulled an oracle card. Correction. I have my deck here. I love these beautiful Oracle of the Mermaids. If you're new to this, I'd like to consult with them. Just ask them to bring me forth a message to contemplate over, to reflect on, something that will invite me to look at things from a fresh perspective and to expand the way that I'm thinking. This is the way that I use my Oracle cards. So as I read and reveal to you the card that's coming forth, it is my invitation to you to do the same kind of self-reflection, just to see what sparks for you. So let's see what the mermaids have to say, given all that I just said. Okay, this is, I think, the perfect setup following this conversation. I got card number 36 for any of you number buffs out there, and this is the card Time Out. Time Out. And if you like Oracle draws, I invite you to jump over to, once this wraps, jump over to my Facebook community, the Conscious Success community. You can go to bit.ly/Conscious Success Now, all one word, lowercase, and it'll take you straight to my Facebook group. I do a 3-card spread every single week. So if you want to dive more in depth and see what other messages the mermaids have in mind for us this week, I welcome you to come over there and engage with that. So the timeout card brings with it a message of awareness, contemplation, solitude, time alone. And I think that that's the perfect place to be. If this is a new conversation for you, or if I've just expanded this 3D, 4D, 5D way of thinking for you, then take time alone to reflect and to assess what I just talked about and get in touch with yourself. So often we stay so submerged, or we're so focused, especially if you're a person who wants to save the world like myself. When we see other people in crisis, when I see other people in crisis, it's my tendency to dive in and try to fix them, try to help them, try to alleviate them. And being able to take a step back, learn how to take a time out, learn how to allow others to feel without me having to get involved in that feeling as well. It's a powerful, powerful healing step for myself. And I invite you to take some time out with yourself alone and do some reflection. See, where are you keeping yourself slingshotting back to third dimensional living, to 3D living, and where you're getting caught up, and who are you tangling with in that fourth dimensional corridor, to be able to get in touch with what it is that's really needed to carry you over into that fifth dimension. As you can see, she's got her back turned. She's unconcerned. She knows that everything's got her back and that she's safe to take some time by herself, ignore everything else that's happening around, and make some choices that are true to her. And often that's what's needed to step out of this third dimension and into the fourth dimension, is to take that time alone, do some deep reflection over what is really true and right to you. And then challenge yourself to be all of that in your daily expression, right? Okay. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I know this was a little longer than usual, but I really wanted to dive into this 3, 4, 5D living. I would love some comments below. Let me know. Do you relate to this? Do you understand it? Where are you at? 3D, 4D, 5D? How about those rascals that are around you? Have you been having this conversation? Have you been curious about it? Drop some comments below. Would love to see, to continue this conversation. And go check out the past weekly energy updates, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel while you're here, or hop over to YouTube and subscribe there. And yeah, I'll catch you next week. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here, Erica. Thanks whoever else is tuned in there live. It was fun to use this platform, and see you next time. Bye.